knees and eyes and knees alone. So I had a bad case of the iveitis this week. And so y'all been whooping on me pretty good this week. I ain't made hardly no paper. So things been tight. But that's what happens when you catch a case of the iveitis. You know, so you don't want to get caught up in that iveitis too much. You know, shake that bone, get it off of you. Trust in the Most High Yah. Trust Him in all your ways and all. Happy birthday. And you know, Yah's will come this Tuesday. I pray that I wake and I hope I wake up the rest of the life. For a long time, I never thought I'd even make it here. So I'm just thankful and brought me through a lot. I've been through 3 marriages and still on my 3rd. So I'm thankful for that. Got a grandbaby. That y'all continue to keep his hand around them and on them. And that I pray that with anything and bring them closer to him. And let them one day walk through these doors and sit and claim their rightful seat as a child of the Most High Yah. So hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yes, sir. Brother in the back.
Shalom.
Shalom.
We're going to call a story about the CDC. The CDC said that they got a scientist there. They said that he was the guys from CDC to Africa, and he said they're the ones who set up the Ebola or the AIDS thing. They're actually shooting the people with this drug or to eradicate people. I mean, when you hear it from someone else that works for the CDC, it makes it kind of like, wow, they really don't really hate us. I mean, to send somebody in to do something to a people, they haven't done anything to them. So I guess the scriptures are pretty accurate on what's going on. That's what I was trying to tell you guys here. It's like, it's pretty bad when a brother steps out and say, this is what they instructed us to do against the people.
Yes, sir. They are, and it's good that the Almighty found out things of that nature. And last week, in my reasoning, but nevertheless, did you get one, Elder? Elder, did you? Oh, he got one. I got highlighted. So because I want to talk about the Sabbath as a phase in. Is my elder outside? There's many a controversy, many a thoughts. And last week, there was a couple of questions posed at the end of class. I have them still. The one stating was about the Sabbath day. They can give it to me verbally in captivity. Still a big issue.
Yeah.
A huge issue.
The book speaks, right?
A huge issue. So I said I wanted to touch it this week. And in touching it, now as we go to Psalm 74, let's do something that Moses told us to do. Because everybody regard Moses as the man of Elohim.
Hallelujah.
So as we go to Psalm 74, let's do something that Moses told us to do out of the book of Deuteronomy 32. It was a song that he wrote. And in the song that he wrote, one of his last songs that he would write, he said in Deuteronomy 32, remember,
consider the years of many generations.
Consider the years not only of what time you living in. See, that's what people do. They often speak from a period of what they know. They don't speak from a period of many years and many generations that came before them. They speak from a place focused and centered on what they think they know. Because it's not bad to be able to speak on things, no matter how old you are, if you have something substantial to back that up. You can be a young man and speak on things and speak widely on things if you have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding substantial enough to back that up. But very few young people have knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to speak on things. Because I'm talking with my son, I say, yeah, and I smile and I laugh because I say, yeah, I know, but you only speak what you know based on where you at. I said, I've been there, seen it, done it. Your grandmother been there, seen it, done it. Seen it, been there, done it. You got a little ways before you be on equal footing with us. And you're supposed to lean on. Yeah, that's why he said again.
Remember the days of old.
Remember the days of old.
Consider the years of many generations.
Consider the years of many generations.
Ask thy father.
When you're trying to figure out something, ask. That's what you lean on. Don't lean on your contemporaries only. Don't lean on what you know in modern day only. Ask your fathers. Seek out those who have went down the road before you, that went down that road and came back up that road and back down that road again, possibly. Ask your fathers.
And he will show thee thy elders.
Ask your fathers about the days where they couldn't go to this town, where they couldn't go to that town, where they got chased out of this town and they got chased out of that town. Ask them about the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 70s, the 80s. Ask them, and don't be stuck thinking you getting everything in 2019.
All right.
Because what you have in 2019 is still remnants from the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Yes, sir.
There are shows I can see where you'll think you're in a time warp because the way that they shoot innocent unarmed black men today, they was doing it in 1980. If I mention Overtown, who know what I'm talking about? See? If I mention Overtown, who know what I'm talking about? See, because many of us don't even know what Overtown is. City in Miami, down by the university. Now, Overtown don't mean much because now you know the University of Miami of Florida for what? Football, basketball, sports. And this cornucopia where students can go to the University of Miami of Florida and flourish. Well, in Overtown, in 1980s, a young black man innocently was gunned down that sparked a riot for 7 days. See, we never heard of that.
No. I never heard of that.
Huh?
No.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
That's why it says, ask your father. You think that that's just here and now. But in every decade, these things have been transpiring. That's why it says, sit down and if you have them, sit down and have conversations with your elders while they're here. You'll learn some things. So ask your fathers, and they will what?
And they will show you the elders.
And they will show thee. Thy elders, ask them, and they will tell you. So that's what we want to do. We want to ask in this question of the Sabbath day, and should we keep it? We want to ask our fathers. We want to ask our elders. You say, well, Brother Abraham, how are we going to do that? How in the heck we going to do that? They dead. Who could tell us if in captivity, not just this captivity, but in any captivity? Because then that means we did not keep the Sabbath day in no captivity.
That's right.
And there should be no proof or no traces that we kept a Sabbath day in any captivity.
That's right.
Because the fathers would tell us that's wrong.
That's
The
right.
fathers would admonish us and show us, and the elders would let us know that's wrong. Y'all agree?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Hallelujah.
Well, let's see. Let's ask them. Let's ask them. Let's ask them. Let's go to Psalm 74. Let's go back to Psalm 74. But we're going to ask them. Now, full disclosure, let me say before we get started, because I'm a realistic person. Full disclosure and preemptive striking to a person that don't want to keep the Sabbath day. This ain't gonna mean nothing to them.
Yeah.
To a person, and more importantly, yes, I'm gonna say it, to a person whom Yahweh have closed their eyes as to the importance of keeping the Sabbath day. But for you that's alive, for you that regard the Almighty, for you that want a little more clarity and understanding on the situation as to whether or not it should be kept, and for you that may help somebody, we're going to ask the fathers.
Hallelujah.
Let's see what they could tell us. Psalm 74. Let's start there, brother.
Hallelujah. Oh, Elohim, why hast thou cast us off forever?
My brother had me in the back. Is the Almighty? What did I think about the Almighty since we turned our back on him? What did I think about him? I told him, I said, just look around. Look at the people that he bore and look at them now. I don't have to tell you, I don't have to guess and hypothesize. He's telling you what he thought about what we did to him. And that's how this song opened up. Oh, Elohim, why have thou cast us off? And it seems like right now, for go ahead.
Why?
People, when you try to tell them who they are, that they Israel, that's what they say. Well, if we are these special people, if we are the people of the Almighty, if we are the people of God, then why is he doing this to us? And if you, even as an Israelite that's awakened and know Yah and really know, sometimes it's still going to creep in your mind. Why? And how long will this go on? Why your anger? Why you smoke against the sheep of your pastor?
Remember thy congregation.
Remember your what?
Congregation.
Remember your what?
Congregation.
Congregation. Remember them.
Which thou hast purged.
Same as the right. Also remember Mount Zion,
Thou hast dwelt.
wherein you have dwelt. Remember that. So remember two things. Remember your congregation that you purchased of old. Remember your inheritance. It's the same thing. And remember this Mount Zion the place which you said you would dwell. Remember that.
Lift up thy feet unto the perpetual desolation.
Why don't you come and put your feet on the perpetual desolation places?
Even all that the enemy have done wickedly in the sanctuary.
Don't you see that right now, your sanctuary? Remember that.
Thy enemies roar in the midst of thy congregation.
And look upon our people and see how the enemy roars in the midst of thy congregations.
They set up their ensigns for signs.
And they set up their ensigns for signs. Not your ensigns, but theirs.
Right.
And those are our signs. That's who we look, that's what we look to know if we on the right track.
Oh, mercy.
We don't look to you to determine if this is right and if this is wrong. We look to them and their signs. Is it backed by the crucifix? Is it backed by the papacy? Is it backed by the Latter-day Saints? Is it backed by Grand? That's the ensign. That's the sign. By the signs they set up and what they teach and what they have told us to accept. But a man was famous.
According to
Underline that fourth verse, because that's a break in thought. This is a new thought. Because the man was famous according as he lifted up axes upon the thick trees. Now, what man? I'm going to stop right here and ask you. What man was famous according as he lifted up axes upon thick trees?
I almost want to say Paul Bunyan.
I would know that the ensign of the Gentile is upon you, boy. You said that. No, what man? What man here in verse 5 is famous as he lifted up axes upon the trees? And we're going to break down these scriptures.
Yeah, Solomon.
Thank you, brother.
Hallelujah. When he's building the temple.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.
Solomon became famous. That's why it was known as Solomon's Temple. Solomon became, even though it was in the heart of his father David, it was done under the reign and rulership of Solomon.
But they made a story.
And so Solomon, it became Solomon's temple. And even Solomon himself will tell you his story. Hold this page and go to the book of Chronicles. 2 Chronicles.
Chapter 5.
2 Chronicles.
First chapter.
Hallelujah.
First verse. See, he became famous right here, right off the rip.
And Solomon, 2 Chronicles, chapter 1, verse 1. And Solomon, the son of David, was strengthened in his
He
kingdom.
was strengthened in his kingdom.
And Yahweh, his Elohim, was with him.
Yahweh was with him
By him exceedingly.
and magnified him exceedingly. He became, that's famous. That's fame. Yahweh was with him and magnified him exceedingly.
Then Solomon spake unto all Israel,
And when he became this way, he spoke unto all Israel,
to the captains of thousands
captain of thousands,
and of hundreds,
hundreds,
and to the judges,
judges,
to every governor in all Israel, the chief of the fathers.
and what did he say to them?
So Solomon and all the congregation with him.
You see, congregation?
There was the tabernacle of the congregation of Elohim.
And that's why I said, remember that congregation which you have purchased of old. It's talking about his people. And Solomon and all the people, chief people he took with him to Gibeon to the meeting tent, because at this time there still is only the meeting tent for the ark to rest in. There is no building. They have to go to a tent, as elaborate as it was, as good as it's been many years. Someone said, as I was saying earlier, it's not good enough. That's what my father had and his father, but that just ain't good enough. We can't stop right here.
All right.
I'm gonna be the one that take this tent and turn it into something greater than that. Go ahead. He said, and they went to the meeting tent of the congregation of Elohim, which Moses, the servant of Yahweh, had made in the Israel.
But the ark of Elohim had David brought up from Kirjath
Yarim,
to the place which David had prepared for it. He had pitched a tent for it at Jerusalem. Moreover, the brazen altar had made.
Jump to chapter 2.
Hallelujah.
Because I want you to see how he was famous, who lifted up the axe upon thick trees.
And Solomon determined to build a house for the name of Yahweh.
So now at the 1, you can go back and read all the 1. But now it shows you he was what word does he use?
Determined.
He was determined. And when you determined to do something, that means you have set your heart to it, and that means you're going to do it
To the end.
to the end. You're determined. You're disciplined on these 20 pounds. So I'm going to do it.
Hallelujah.
I'm not going to stop. As hard as it is to get in the gym and do it, I'm going to do it. I'm determined to win this fight. I'm going to go train. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to be hindered. So he determined himself to build a house in the name of Yah for his kingdom.
And Solomon told out 310,000 men to bear burdens in the mountain.
The hew in the mountain. What did hew in the mountain mean?
Bust down boulders.
Go up there and cut that wood. Cedar wood, all the fir trees. Yes. And 600 to oversee them. You see this brother? This bad man.
Yeah.
This boy bad.
A whole bunch of men.
This boy bad. Now you're going to see why his kingdom was so beautiful. This man is cold. And Solomon sent to Huram, king of Tyre, saying, as thou did deal with David, my father, and didst send him cedars to build him a house to dwell therein, even so deal with me. For behold, I build a house to the name of Yahweh to the Most High. And we're going to do it like my father was able to build him a nice house. Well, we want to trump that and building this. And that for this house. Because believe it or not, when you read, you'll find out he built this house before he built and completed his house. He built the Almighty's house.
Hallelujah.
Then he completed his house. Then he was such a bad man. Although he married Pharaoh's daughter, he built her house outside of Jerusalem. Because he said she need a place to stay, and that ain't even amongst the children of Israel. He built her a place outside.
Political marriage.
Because it was just a political marriage. But he said, and on the what? Sabbaths, and on the new moon, and on the solemn feast of Yah our Elohim, because this is an ordinance forever to Israel.
Hallelujah.
So we get his mindset. And that's why I want to show you that, because he is the man in verse 5 that was famous, according as he had lifted up axes upon big trees. That's what he had done. And he had the great house things that it did. But then there's another change of thought. Verse 6. No, back to Psalm 74. I'm sorry. Back to Psalm 74, verse 6. I'm sorry. I didn't transition. Back to Psalm 74. I just want you to see he's that man that was famous.
Hallelujah.
Psalm 74, verse 6.
Psalms chapter 74, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
But
now they break down the carved work thereof at once.
They have defiled by casting down the dwelling places of thy name to the ground.
Defiled by casting down the dwelling place. Singular.
Yes. Sir.
This is important. That we understand this, how we dissect this and break this down. Because verses 6 and 7 is dealing with one particular place. It's dealing with the temple. Y'all stay with me now.
All right.
They're going to be over pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
Verse Solomon built, which is the temple, to house the Almighty's name there. That's what we just read.
That's right.
They have cast fire into thy sanctuary, singular. They have defiled by casting down his name to the ground.
They said in
Uh-oh. The thing ain't hot. Well, we have the psalmist talking about how they destroyed the Almighty's place to house his name, and that place is the temple. Now, read verse 8. Because the temple wasn't good enough. Go ahead.
They said in their heart.
They also said in their heart after destroying the temple,
let us destroy them together.
Let us destroy them all together.
That they have burnt all the synagogues of Elohim in the land.
And as a result, when they said we want to destroy them all together, as a result, there's a semicolon there, isn't it?
Yes.
That means stop. So when they said in their hearts, let's destroy it all together, it goes on to say, and they have burnt what?
Up all the synagogues.
Burnt up all. What's all?
Every last one.
That means more than one. All means plural. Huh?
Yes.
Let's dissect this right.
Yes, sir.
I say all.
Every last one.
That means every last one.
Every last
I want
one.
all of y'all to get up and get out of here.
I
That means anybody stay back.
no.
But if I say, hey, I want you and point at you, Elder Poor, and get up and get out of here. That means who leave? Elder Poor. That means I've singled her out. The temple was already singled out in the song. This destruction and talking about it. Now he said, but that wasn't good enough. They want to destroy all the synagogues in the what? In the land.
In the land.
Now, this is where it kind of gets good. Because in the Holy Scriptures, in your Bibles, how many times you ever gonna see the word synagogue written? No phone. Can't use the phone.
How many times?
Can't cheat. How many times? You gonna say what? You gonna say what? In this song? One time. The only reason why you're gonna see it just one time is because synagogue is a what term? Who knows what tongue that's from?
That's I don't want to say Greek.
You don't want to say Greek?
Yeah, I was that's what I'm thinking, Greek.
Okay, well then, I'm glad you was thinking Greek, because that's exactly what it is.
Oh, we are.
Synagogue is a Greek word. So the insertion here, to see synagogue, is from a Greek origin, because it's what the Greeks called what they saw among where they gathered. So in the Greek tongue, they called it synagogue, synagogue, which is of the Greek tongue. But what does the scriptures render this in? And this is why you're gonna only see it one time. Sister B, I'm glad you're a step ahead of me, you're with me. Because I saw you pull out your concordance. I want you to look it up. It's 4150. There you go. She on the spot. She got that quarter, boy. She with me. Because what the scriptures render it as is Amru Bi Lahim Ginam Yakar Shafu El Ba Ares Kal Moade El Ba Ares. Moade. Did you get 4150? Would you read to the class what 4150 states?
From 3259, read it, PROP.
Proposition.
And appointed, i.e., a fixed time or season.
And appointed, as in appointed time, the fixed time or season,
a
festival,
a conventionally a year.
Be convened yearly, yes.
And here by MPL, and
Implication.
An assembly.
And what?
Assembly.
A what?
Assembly.
An assembly.
As convened for the purpose.
As convened for a definite purpose. Technically,
the congregation.
By extension.
A place of meeting.
Place of meeting.
Also a signal.
Also a signal.
As appointed beforehand. Appointed, sign time. Place of solemn assembly.
Yes.
Congregation.
Yes.
And a set solemn feast appointed due. Season, solemn, synagogue. Time appointed.
Time appointed. The word is moed, which is from moed. Time appointed. So in the Greek tongue, they called it synagogue because it means place. In the Hebrew tongue, we call that mo'adah. That's what we call them, the meeting place. So when you read this, it would say, now from the Hebrew perspective, they burnt down all the meeting places in the land so that you can get a landscape. See, scripture said, get understanding. There was one temple, but all over. That's why people are asking, what about the leavened bread? Why we give that up? Because all over the land, that had to be given up. Because all over the land, there were meeting places, not temples, there were meeting places scattered all over the land. of Israel.
Hallelujah.
Many. That's what this is telling us. Many meeting places in all the territories of Israel. So although people made that pilgrimage feast on the Feast of Unleavened Bread, not everybody, every single soul was there. And the souls that wasn't there, where were they to convene?
At the meeting place.
They were to convene at the meeting places scattered all over the land. Now, here's the kicker about that. Here's the kicker about that. In those meeting places, because this is people's great excuse. In those meetings,
They learned the law.
they learned the what?
The law.
And recited the who?
The Torah. The command.
And the prophets. But let me tell you what they did not do. Because they could not do it. Because it wasn't constricted for them to do it. Because this is people's excuse. In all those meeting places, all those synagogues, they had no burnt offerings,
No burnt offerings,
no sacrifices.
No sacrifice.
Because only the Levite, the sons of Aaron, could do that.
And that was at the temple.
And that was done at the temple.
Yes,
And watch what we're about to read. See how this gets clear? Because that's what people think. Oh, we can't do it because we don't. Well, they wasn't doing it there.
Hallelujah.
At the many various meeting places all through the land. And you can't call me a liar unless you want to pull Psalm 74 out and say it's wrong. That's why I said, ask our fathers and they'll tell us. Ask the elders and they'll show us. They have burnt up all our meeting places in the land. Now, get your little article. I know it's blurred on the eyes, but follow along. Because see, this is a book. You can see. This is a little study guide. It's called the Almanac of the Bible. I mean, if it's in the Bible, you can look at the subject is in there. You can turn and you can find it in here. This is one of my many study tools. Very in depth. This is not what some people say, well, that Bible, that might be wrong. This is historically accurate. Excavations, ruins, pictures of sites of ruins. So what do they say? And that's where that comes from. Now we're gonna answer questions that the scripture gonna answer questions that they ain't even got the answers for. Because here's how it starts off. The beginning of the synagogue. And again, synagogue is just the Greek word for what? Meeting place.
Meeting place.
That was in where?
Jerusalem.
Not just Jerusalem.
All over the land of Israel.
All over the land of Israel, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm asking y'all these questions because these are vital to establish these facts. How and when the synagogue came into being is a subject of speculation and scholarly dispute. Because they wouldn't know. But we know how they came to be. They came to be in existence with us. The meeting places came to be in existence with us. The most accepted theory is that it emerged during the battle. Watch this. The most accepted theory is that the synagogue, meeting place, emerged in the Babylonian exile. Their Jewish exiles from the kingdom of Judah found themselves cut off from the focus of their cult. Bypass that for right now. The temple, with its elaborate ritual, and they lack any accepted format of worship. So the solution may have come from grassroots, meaning the people. Or it may have been inspired from the top, perhaps from the prophet Ezekiel or the author of the second part of the book of Isaiah. It has been suggested that the exiles convened mean to what? Gather themselves together. That the exiles, that means somebody kicked out of their land, in another land.
Yes, sir.
So in another place, another land, these exiles convened, gathered together informally, if you want to say, on the Sabbaths and festivals. Uh-oh. And this is in the Babylonian captivity. What did we say earlier? If we wrong in this captivity, then that means they didn't keep it in no captivity. But here they said their excavations, their proofs, scientific proof is shown that they have proved that the Israelites in the Babylonian captivity convened outside of the land on the Sabbath days to keep the Sabbath. Perhaps on these occasions they visited. Now listen, does this sound familiar? And they quote to the law and to the testimony of the law. In captivity on every Sabbath day. And buoyed up their hopes for a return to their own homeland. Perhaps here too, the people listen to the expositions of the Bible or scriptures, especially paying attention to the Pentateuch, which is the 5 books of Moses, which have been accepted with expressions of confession and repentance and petitions to Elohim to bring back the exiles to their own land, where they could rebuild the destroyed temple. I'm asking you from what you're reading, does this sound and look familiar? Jews later thought that Ezekiel's reference to a little sanctuary referred to these incipient synagogues. Now there's a second school of thought, namely the Babylonian captivity. All scholars accept this theory. Already in the period before the destruction of the first temple. And by Psalm 74's account, this second group of theorists, they would be correct. Because the origin of the synagogue or meeting place was before the temple was ever destroyed. And even the New Testament, they back it, which is a truth. Because even in the New Testament, what's what it said? It said, for such belief was held in ancient times as attested to by Acts 15. For from the early, and this is quoting it, from the early generations, Moses has had in every city those who preached him, for he is read every Sabbath in the synagogues. That's a quote. And that's exactly what was happening. In every meeting place, from generations long past, Moses was taught every Sabbath day in the meeting places. Scholars theorize that when pilgrims traveled to Jerusalem on the pilgrim festivals, many others remained behind, and they must have had an alternative way to express themselves religiously. In this case, the exiles to Babylon, watch this, highlight this, watch it. Not that it was born in Babylon, not that the synagogue started in Babylon, but the exiles, when kicked out of Jerusalem, took their practice of going to the meeting places with them into captivity and still kept it there, expressed in the synagogue. And when the exiles returned to Judah, they would have brought their experience of community prayer, while the activity of Ezra and Nehemiah would have encouraged the establishment of local centers for prayer and study. Other scholars at this time and insist that they emerge at a much later date. Well, they are disturbed by the absence of it because they don't understand and they never read Psalms 74. They were still kin. They said it's a testament that that side of the children of the king can't say that we don't have nothing to do with the Almighty. You're right. The earliest concrete information on a synagogue. See, don't get captivated by the word synagogue. It only in Greek means moeday, the meeting place. Which when the Greeks saw us practicing what we were practicing in their tongue, again, I repeat, they said, this is synagogue. This is a meeting place. Because they spoke Greek. So the earliest concrete information on the synagogue comes from the inscription found near Alexandria, Egypt. This is how far back it goes. In the 3rd century BC, it commemorates the dedication to an Egyptian monarch of a Jewish prayer. Another inscription, that means something that stands out, not normal. Regarded as the habitation of deity. Worship was confined to sacrifice. Did you understand that? See, to have the ability, what that's saying is, when these synagogues were taken and put up and erected, especially in captivity, the people around them looked at it and said, man, that's wow. It's a revolutionary practice. Because the pagans, the only people that could go into places of worship were priests, high officials. So to see people being able to go and color and do what they did, this is a revolutionary concept in captivity amongst the pagans that was observing these people. Henceforth, now you can see why Naaman said, King, there's a people in your land. Because this is during Babylonian captivity. And they live by different laws. They're strange. They do things differently. They don't regard your law. They're eccentric. What was making them eccentric? This is one of those things that was making them eccentric. In your land, the only people that go in little places of worship are the priests, the people that's ordained to go in and make sacrifice. These people going in and convening and holding something and making prayers and reading books and reciting it. This ain't done. The word synagogue comes from the Greek place of gathering. Discourse as well as a place of worship. And that's what going towards Deer Park, leaving Emily Village. That's a synagogue. It's the hugest synagogue one of the hugest synagogues you ever want to see. It take up a block.
Yes, it do.
Because they make and they do that and they build one. That's when you know you're in a Jewish community, I'm gonna say it like that. That's when you know you're in one, because they erect one very big, very large, to let you know this is the center of our community. There's not a one you travel in, you won't see them erect one. And it's massive to serve as many different things. Some nation building can go on there. Some serving the Almighty can go on there. Some returning back to Yah in His foot. Some training of young men, training of young women, some job training, some business training, some passing down family businesses, some expectations of what sons and daughters should become. They put it right smack dab in the middle where everybody can come right out. And it's not little edifices. Like I said, I love this, and I'm not saying it because I'm not talking specifically about here, because I done been over it. Yes.
All right.
Why you looking for it? Bro, I thought you said we on this street. We are. Well, I'm down here then. You went too far. Come on back. You come back, you missed it again in your head. No wonder I missed it.
Right.
They have places that's grand. I go by, they got big lions standing out, statues standing out. They got things running across. Because they took what was ours, just as Obadiah said, and made it theirs. We can't get it back for ourselves because we hear squabbling about if we should even be keeping the Sabbath day and convening on the Sabbath day. We hear squabbling about that. So and they recognize that it should be kept.
Don't tell me about the synagogue.
The Jews, if you can hold it, please.
Okay.
I promise I'll let you. The Jews are caught on that, like I said, these Israelites they're talking about. The Jews established synagogues throughout the diaspora. What is diaspora?
The whole land, the whole region.
Not only the whole region, diaspora is where it's another term for where you exposed. It's not your homeland, the African diaspora. That means where we were kicked out to.
I can tell why the diaspora.
The diaspora, where they put you.
Where the missiles are.
See, that's in the city of Thessalonica. He was writing to these Israelite congregations. He was writing, they said, that's skullduggery. That's why when he went to Jerusalem, James them had to grab him and tell him, man, look, you got to get your act together. Because you've been writing these letters all over the diaspora, stirring up the Israelites, and they hear what you writing, they want to kill you. So while you here with us, we gonna prove that you a real son of Yah, and you ain't starting no foolishness. And you're gonna take these vows like these other men, you're gonna act like you got some sense. Because these people hear these letters you writing, and man, they ready to hurt you. See, we've been thinking that he's been writing to Gentiles. He's not. He's been writing to the places where the Israelites at amongst these Gentile lands, writing this foolishness, turning Israelites away from what they know for many years. In the Second Temple period, the synagogue spread rapidly, not only in the diaspora, but also into Palestine. Last I checked, Palestine wasn't the land, wasn't it? Here, the temple and synagogue coexisted with the division of functions. The Jews, listen, the Jews went to the temple to seek forgiveness for their sins. He went to the synagogue to offer up his personal supplication and to listen to expositions of the sacred scriptures. Synagogues flourished in Jerusalem, even on the Temple Mount, where there was a synagogue connected to the temple. Sacrifices, check it, sacrifices were offered to the synagogue that's connected. The sacrifices was for the temple, prayers, readings, recitings, that was for the synagogue or the meeting place. Nobody burning nothing in those small meeting places. An altar, no burnt altar incense, no altar, 2 altars out there. That is done for the temple. But in the meeting places, the synagogue, prayers, reading of the prophets, reading of the book of Moses, reading and petitioning God to come back and save us. Same thing you doing in 2019 in the various places you convene to keep the Sabbath day. That's the same thing our fathers was doing back in antiquity. in captivity. Babylonian, Medo-Persian, Greek, and Roman. Historically backed up and proven, as well as scripturally backed up and proven.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
So ask my fathers if I'm right to come here every Sabbath day. Ask my elders if I'm right to come here every Sabbath day. They giving me the answer.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Let's finish this song. As a result, it said, we see not, Psalm 74, verse 9.
We see not ourselves.
So we don't, and because we don't know, because we squabble about if we should even be here keeping a Sabbath. Can we keep the Sabbath in captivity? What to do? As a result, we see not our what?
Our signs.
We see the enemy signs, but we don't see our signs.
There is no more any prophet.
And we say to ourselves, there is no more any prophets. There is no more divine inspired men of Elohim. He deal no more with us.
Neither is there among us any that knoweth how long.
And we don't have a person that know how long.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I believe that divine inspired men of Yah and Yah only still here in our midst.
Hallelujah.
They may not mean much to you. They may not mean much to me, but they still here. You may look at them and say, look at them. They don't fit the bill. They can't be, but they're here.
All right.
You may not want to regard them as being here. So you don't think that you have to be held accountable for being here.
Okay.
But they're here.
Hallelujah.
They're here.
Yes, sir.
And like the Almighty said, they in my quiver for the day I'm ready to use them.
Hallelujah. Verse 10. O Elohim, shall the enemy blaspheme thy name forever?
Yes.
Why withdraw
In the waters, thou breakest the head of Leviathan in pieces and gave him to be meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. Thou did cleave the fountains and the flood. You dried up the mighty rivers. The day is yours. The night also is yours. Thou hast prepared the light and the sun.
Hallelujah.
Thou hast set the borders of the earth. You have made summer and winter. Remember, the people have blasphemed thy name. Forget not the issue. In other words, forget when you say, I'll be your Elohim and you'll be my people. Have respect unto that covenant that you have made. For the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. You ask me if I'm shocked that the CDC is trying to sterilize, trying to get rid of, trying to inject stuff into our people and even his own people. Because as it said, the wicked man, that's how wicked he is. To kill a few of his enemies, he'll take out a few of his own people.
Yes, indeed.
He said, man, order that bomb to be dropped. We got people in.
Collateral damage.
He said, well, he just, yes, what he said, son?
Collateral
It's just collateral damage. Did we get the enemy? Yeah, you got it. That's all I need to know. Fold up the flag
Silver cross.
in the honorable way.
Give him a silver star. Make up a story.
Make up a story.
Right.
Yeah.
Give him a silver star and send him home.
Because the dark places of the earth, these are the places you and I don't go. We don't know nothing about. These are the dark secret places. People don't want to believe it. They think it's confused. No, it ain't. These are the dark places where they're doing things with dark minds. They're full of the habitation of cruelty in these places. go mad, you wouldn't believe it. Not only that, they had a TV show and they got a Dustin Hoffman. People got a little town, they isolated in. Y'all seen them? People just got sick and was dying all over the place. Just, I mean, because the disease, the virus they let out, it was just, if you got it, it was just a raps. Ain't no trying nothing. It was a raps. And they had one point where they showed a scene where the barn, they opened up the barn and you think they, for whatever reason, they got bodies stacked up in the barn. And all the while these folks are dying. And we talking about people that was their own countrymen. All the while they dying, the wicked man sitting on the cure. All the while these lives have been taken, people are suffering, people laying there dying and suffering. He got the cure in his hand. That's why I said, man, you can't put nothing past this wicked man. And I ain't talking about the everyday Joe you go and work with. He part of this. He part of his plan. Them a few pawns on his chessboard. I'm talking about the man that's running this thing, and he is devious.
Yes, sir.
He in the dark places. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist. He in that shadow government. He in them places. He in them places where when the Almighty does send His messenger, he got to have the protection of Yah, because that's the only thing that'll keep him. These are dark places. Let not the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise thy name. Remember how the foolish man reproaches thee daily, meaning every day. Forget not the voice of thine enemies. The tumult of those that rise up against thee increases continually.
Oh, yeah.
We learned a lot from this song.
Yes, sir.
But we learned most importantly for us that wanted to learn, we learned by asking the fathers and asking the elders if we should be convening on the Sabbath day in the meeting places. This is a trial.
Yeah.
It will put the Sabbath day on trial. So say the jury.
Sabbath day.
So say the jury. Yay?
Yay.
Or nay?
Yay on the Sabbath day. Yay. Hallelujah.
Yes, happening.
Hallelujah.
Now, like I said, to them that the light of the Almighty has been dimmed, it may not have meant very much. Just as I was already resolved to know that it was right to keep the Sabbath day before we taught all that, they resolved that it to their own care.
I remember when I was in the Marine Corps, and that's when I found out about Area 51. I never knew. I always hear about Area 51, but I never knew it really existed, because they always say it don't exist. So we actually got a report that came down and handed all the motor T operators telling us about Area 51 when we was out in that part of the country down. And I'm like, man, there's a lot of places. They even got bases in the middle of the ocean that you won't even know that's a base right there. It looks like one of them oil rigs, but it's really a military outbreak. They got a new movie coming out, yes. Or it's not even a movie. They're actually calling it a documentary on National Geographic.
Yes, a TV show.
And it's called The Hot Zone or Hot Spot or something like that.
Yes, sir.
Now, I've been trying to see when they're going to show that, because I ain't been able to watch it.
Premieres next week, I think, or this week coming up.
But that in itself is real scary when you think about some of the things and put out. So the scriptures is really coming true all the way where y'all told us we're in a polluted land and that we need to be diligent in everything that we're doing, from food that we eat, even the water that we drinking. We need to be diligent in that. I just seen a report that they showed in California that the waters in California are full of aluminum, and I think it's called iodine. I'm not sure the other word.
All kinds of contaminants.
But they said it's it's terrible.
All kinds of
And it's
contaminants.
doing a number of water, and they spoke about the chemtrails they putting up in the sky, and they saying how they changing the weather, and they showing like you see all the red in the sky. They said that's from the chemicals that they dumping in the sky, and they don't really know the result of what it's gonna be, but they already starting to see some of the devastating or long-term effects that this is going on the earth period. So it's only a matter of time, I think, before the earth itself starts to spew us up out of her.
Well,
hallelujah.
Well, that's what it is. It's all the same. He tells the Almighty to remember his people, but his focus on the Psalms is, he said, these are your enemies.
Yes, sir.
They trying to get at you through your children, but these are your enemies. It ain't that they just stop at being the people's enemies. These are your enemies. You have some that are Almighty's enemies.
That's right.
Person don't think you get your child, you like,
Oh,
where you want me to meet you at? What you want me to do? You're gonna toe the line.
that's right.
So they think to do to the children of Yah,
What they can't do to y'all.
to bring them into subjection. Ain't that crazy?
Crazy.
But Almighty said, I got something for you. So all these things can't pray. And it ain't much we can do. I'm gonna tell you the honest truth.
Right.
Like I said and told the brother last week, this was supposed to do right to do. Or guarantee me. Because there's so much this man. The earth is devoured under the inhabitants thereof. Because like I said, when we saying wicked people, I got to say this to bring the mind up. When we saying wicked men, we're not talking about just one government. We're talking about land. We're talking about wicked people that run this world. They in Germany. They in China. They in Russia. They in the United States. And wherever the Almighty people at, they're going to seek them. They're going to seek them. And the Almighty have enemies. Being the creator of heaven and earth, he have enemies all over this planet.
Everywhere.
Yes, ma'am.
Boss,
I want to say on the ground about it. A couple weeks ago, remember we was at the comedy show, and that comedian came up and he was saying how he used to be in the army. Y'all remember that? And he was saying that that the army was trying to hide a bunch of things from him, but he had ended up coming across, I guess, some type of folder or something, but it was talking about who we as the black man here in this land is. And he said that he ran across the name of Yahweh. And y'all remember when he was saying that?
Yeah.
He was saying that they had just so, he was like, that's when I really woke up to see what these plans that they had against our people. And he said, because he saw just, he ain't going to detail with us about what he saw, but he said he saw some pretty bad things about what they had planned against our people. He said because he saw these things, he got out of the military, but he was just saying like, who is this Yahweh?
Yes.
He got to be somebody to us.
Yeah.
He have to be someone in front of us for them to come to devise this plan that they have against us because of this Yahweh. And I was just sitting there listening, and I'm just like, wow. And so after the show, I told him, I said, bro, you on the right track. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, my mind was kind of bound. I'm like, wow, what was it that he saw to have him leave the army or Navy or whatever, and who this Yahweh is and what this is really about. And so I'm going to praise y'all for showing that to him. You know, and he didn't know that that's what we know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit there and hear that.
That was the point. Did you hang on to that?
I was just going to comment about synagogue. I really miss because I don't know if there's people who's ever been to one, but I have. I've been to ones here. I've actually been to synagogue on a feast day. This was years ago. But the point of me mentioning the synagogue, and since you brought up the origin, is that these Orthodox synagogues, this is an important point. Because I you know, my East, you all here, when you go on the Shabbat day, you don't bring what's called burden. The books are already there. Everything you need is already there. You don't pay your donations. What you pay is a membership. Depending on your family size, that could be $100 a year. You have 12 months to pay it because that's how they're able to, of course, they run the banks and all of that. But that community gets together. I've been to one over there in Amityville. You go over there and it's a community. But knowing that that's what they do, you know, you'll go in there. If they catch you pulling out some money in there,
Fully functional.
you have to understand because that's why, you know, people may understand. I said, well, you know, I don't do certain things on Shabbat day. One thing about them crooked Orthodox Jews, they mean that. And the Most High bless them for it. That's what I'm saying. But it's what you call membership. And so they have it so they can have the buildings, the children, and everything else that goes up under that building. But you pay it through the week or, you know, monthly or whatever. But that's how they're able to have these facilities. Because he says that is correct. The understanding we could do. You know,
I just said that because that's why this was occasion, and then we're gonna adjourn. You know, we in captivity. I ain't giving nothing. Ain't giving nothing. But you look around and you see pagans, you see heathens, you see people, and they throwing up buildings left and right.
Yeah.
And you looking and then you, like I said, and then you want to say, they wrote me last week. And if you're looking, I said, Moses didn't, I saw the people bring what you have.
That's right.
He didn't say, I got everything, and I'm gonna give it to y'all so we can build it. He said the Almighty called y'all to bring everything that you have willingly to him and help build. Y'all got to build it.
That's right.
What do you want? It's like I was saying earlier, going back and we will close. It's take that same principle when we talk about contract, get the deed or to get the house in my name. But once I get this house, it ain't on me to bring everything and build this house up.
Right.
It's on me. It's on you. It's on you. It's on anybody that want to come and inhabit this house to contribute something to this house
Hallelujah.
so it can be built up. Don't look at me and say it ain't being built up, and you just looking at me
You ain't did nothing.
and you ain't doing nothing.
Don't even open your mouth.
If you want something, you got to bring something.
Hallelujah.
And don't have to be money, it can be time. It can be rich, brother. I know how to fish stuff. I know how to rig up this. I know how to rig up. We need somebody that can. House. He got the money. He got long pockets. Maybe he IT. Bro, we need this. We were looking at, my son had been looking at a little show, dude. All he did was make one phone call. He said, yeah, we chasing this guy. He said, but I need another $1 million. He just make a call. I need another $1 million. Dude said, here you go. Me and my son was like, where the heck at? Didn't catch him. Got away. He called me in. Yeah, he got away. And he was legitimately getting away. He wasn't getting over him. He got away. He said, I need a jet. Need about another $50. Catch him this time. It's that.
Yeah.
They eventually working together.
That's right.
Working together.
Together. Together we stand. Divided we fall.
Because that's what built. everything. 600 overseers, thousands of people that he wasn't there, but you would have found him up there still in the mountains today, high with the axe stuck in the tree and his sarcophagus just like
Beauty of delegation.
beauty of delegation.
But you know, but
Yeah.
that's good for reading. But
Yeah.
that's different church.
That's a whole nother animal.
That's a whole nother animal. You get church, you follow that church, you get church tomorrow. But
If you want to do many things, he can get money.
we haven't done real.
If it's wicked,
Well,
wicked.
yeah.
But if it's something good and wholesome and righteous, they're gonna run it through the ringer. Any other final comments? But I'm telling you, we're on the right. You on the right track? Y'all say, oh, bro, they pull him out of here and he trying to sue us over now. No, I ain't trying to sue. You're on the right track. Nothing come in and tear down the house that we done built up.
Hallelujah.
And I'm not gonna let it come in and tear down.
I'm
sending
not
right,
gonna let
I'm sending
nothing
right back out, Jack.
real quick. I'm sending them out for you.
Yes, sir, brother Quad. Then I saw another hand, then we gonna adjourn.
I want to give thanks to Almighty. Back in 06, I had lost my son and my brother. And not long after, I had lost touch with my nephew for almost 10 years. And last week, he showed up at my doorstep. Knocking on the door. I got a call while I was at work with my wife, and she put him on the phone. You know, I just want to thank Almighty for that.
Hallelujah.
When I ain't know if I'd ever seen him.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Well, I'll tell him he in good hands, like Allstate.
We start back in June.
He in good hands.
Young men, I got more.
Okay, I'll preserve my
You
voice.
here today. You here today. I don't
All right.
know what day it is. But young men, now sing.
I'm right here.
Yay. Fire. Yeah, YouTube. YouTube. June, we start back up training in June. In June, we will start back training. Army Yah, Hayah Israel. We will start back training in June. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There's no other comments. Let us stand so we can get
No, we have one.
to you. Yes, sir.
I pray y'all for safety, God, for waking up today.
Hallelujah. In all things. Hallelujah. Perfect way to close out. Let us stand.
One more.
I can't let you make
I just want to give thanks, right? Give thanks to y'all for safe travel, seeing all the beautiful faces, all my babies growing up, seeing kids now. And it's a blessing to be here. So, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Glad to have you. Praise God. Shema, Yisrael, Yahweh, Eloheinu, Yahweh, one. Yivareka, Yahweh Yismereka, Yahweh, Paneleka, Watunika, Yisa Yahweh, Paneleka, Wayasim, Leka Shalom. Yahweh bless thee and keep thee. Y'all make his face.